The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Some claim that at-home medical tests are making healthcare more convenient than ever. Some are useful, but would you give yourself an at-home cervical test? I wouldn't.
Well, you're not in that position.
But a lot of women said no. Dr. Neal, what's the deal with this?
Okay, so there's something called an at-home cervical testing kit. It costs about $100 and they will send you this swab. Well, you put the swab in your vagina, you collect the sample, then you send it to the lab. The lab will check for high-risk HPV types because those are the types of HPV strongly associated with cervical cancers. 5 days later, they will email you your results, so they will tell you if you have high-risk HPV. So that is what this testing kit is all about.
So testing for an STD.
Right,
yes.
For human papillomavirus, which we call HPV.
Question though, just because you can perform a test at home, should you?
That is a great question. So when you go to the gynecologist's office and we are checking for cervical cancer, because that is the basis of this, these people are saying, do I have HPV? Because that will mean I have a higher probability of having an early cancer or some type of cervical cancer. So they're wanting to know if they have this virus. But at the gynecologist's office, we will do two things. We will say, let's do a pap smear, and that's where we put the speculum in and we scrape cells off of the bottom of your cervix, which is the bottom part of your uterus. We send that to the lab and they tell us if there are any abnormal cells there. Now, based on what that pap smear shows, we will then say, well, tell me if this person is positive or negative for high-risk HPV. So 2 parts to the test when we do it. This particular kit is taking away the pap smear and they're saying, only tell us if they have HPV. I don't love this because we have a lot of studies saying what we should do if a person has an abnormal pap smear, plus or minus the HPV, but we don't have a lot of studies saying what we should do just with the HPV results. Now, there are some guidelines, but it has not been well studied. We don't want to undercall it, but we also don't want to overcall it, meaning we have all these people coming back with HPV. We're doing all of this additional testing. It's emotional stress. It's physical stress. We're doing procedures on the cervix, maybe cutting out part of your cervix because of this, and doing all of this stuff because a lot of times, if you give HPV time, it will resolve itself, especially in young women, if you give it like 8 to about 24 months or so. And also, when it comes to these home collection kits, we don't know the best way to collect it. So they're sending a swab, but other studies have been done with like a brush or a tampon. So how should we be determining if you have HPV at home? I want to make sure a yes or no at home would also be equivalent to a yes or no in the office. I want to make sure those results would be exactly the same. So I think we have a lot of work to do. There are some guidelines for people who happen to look it up and say, well, hey, this is a thing. But I'm saying we should have more studies. This may be a thing in the future, but I don't think we are there yet. Plus, when you go to the doctor's office, it's more than just saying if you have cancer or not when it comes to those cervical cells. We educate you, we do a full physical exam, we talk about birth control, we do other things.
This is also $100 out of pocket,
Yes.
as opposed to if you do have insurance, going to have your annual exam. And I always say, don't perform a test until you know what you're going to do with the result. And that can be true at the doctor's office or an at-home kit. Just because a test is available, we over-test a lot.
Yeah.
And now that there are all these tests available, don't do it unless you truly know what you're going to do with the result. If the answer is, I have no idea what I would do with the result, whether it's positive or negative, ask yourself, is it worth it?
Yeah, I mean,
financially
$100
and
is
psychologically.
fairly steep. You would think that the technology in that test is pretty good, but I agree with you 100% that there's variability even in taking that swab. There may be error in the swab. You're going to get false negatives, which are going to, give a certain sense of relief, and you're not going to follow up with your doctor.
This is the woman to see when it comes to things like this. Your OB-GYN.
Yeah.